cattail reeds. The familiar reeds with the seed top, the brown seed top that eventually opens up like that. Oh man, there's the seeds when they open. So I'm just going to use these leaves. So you can see the big leaves right above my doggy of the cattails. And that's the leaves I use to make the hat and that I use to maintain and repair the hat once a year. So let's get some leaves and then we'll go back and get to work. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. That's what we used to say back in the 1970s and 80s. You still hear people talk about recycling a little bit now and then, but reduce is anathema to the corporate world and the business world, and reuse pretty much the same, but thankfully a lot of people are reusing, reducing, and recycling. And that brings me to my hat. Reducing having to go to the store and buy things when you can make them yourself. And that's what I did here. And I refer you to my earlier video, to which this is just a sequel. My video, I made a hat, you can see on my YouTube page or my blog, and this sequel will be right below the other one on the blog. I don't know if I can do that with YouTube. It'll probably have to be a separate post. So I won't repeat the how to make it. This is just about repair and maintenance. I highly recommend you look at the other video, which is kind of entertaining, called I Made a Hat. It shows the whole process, including learning from my mistakes. 2 hoops and a bunch of little ribs, and that's the basic materials, plus the string to hold it on your head. So the reason I do this once a year is every year, you know, the cattail leaves, which these are the cattail leaves, they start out green and pliable, and then they dry to form a tan color, kind of like dried grass in the summer. And when I walk under tree branches, especially, it'll catch on these dry cattail leaves, and as you can see, there's a lot of holes in the pattern at the top where I brush against tree branches, especially when I'm pruning trees, but when I'm picking fruit or nuts too. And so that makes me need to repair this once a year. After hay fever season is over and after the planting's done, sometime midsummer. So first I'm just gonna take out some of the broken pieces that didn't fall out on their own, just to get them out of the way. And as you can see, here's one that was just hanging. And actually, the more I remove, the easier it is to see the ribs and repair it. But I don't start from scratch every year. I just take out what is damaged and what needs to be filled in where there's holes. So let's just take this one out. And unlike weaving a rug, which is a kind of a flat surface area, and you can do a really nice, neat crisscross pattern, when you're weaving on a round dome like this, a curved circular surface, and a circle that's actually an oval, you have to be kind of improvisational, go in with the flow. And so your pattern is kind of wild and free-flowing, as you see here. So I'll take out a few more of these, and then we'll pause the camera, and I'll just show you the really simple basic technique. Some of these I might just pin them down with a green one. It's all improvisational, as I told you. You never know exactly how it's going to come out. But one thing I do know is what I'll end up with is kind of a two-colored hat. We'll have greens areas and the beige light brown ones too, and it's kind of a interesting, and it'll be neater looking. Okay, you can pause. These in just to show you how it's done. And besides the top of the dome, the other part that gets hit a lot is the front rim, so that's the front, and a lot of times I walk right into things. And so I'm going to start with the rim, do insert a couple of green leaves, and then maybe do one on the dome, and you'll get the idea. You won't need to see more than that. So, as you might notice here, these leaves they vary a little bit in width and length, and I cut them with the scissors to fit exactly into the areas. Once I have finished an area and there's nowhere left to go, and I've tucked it in on both ends, then I'll cut off the extra. So I'm just gonna start in here. I actually didn't have to take off a lot of old material. It was in better shape than it usually is. So I go in and out, and oh, I forgot one tool. But maybe I could do it with these scissors. I have a little nut cracker tool that I use, but I can do this. Let me get it in the right spot. And of course, mostly I'm just using my fingers. There, I didn't even need that tool. And as I go along, I choose what direction to go in. I kind of look in both directions and get a feeling for where it's going to end up. And sometimes I do a regular in and out, and sometimes I skip a few of these. It's just going with the flow. That's the way I like to be. That's the way I roll. I've been rolling this way since the 1960s. And so just pulling it right on through. And then I'm going to go over the rim, the outer hoop, and weave it underneath until I come to an area that doesn't need any more of this, and I'll cut it off. Yeah, I so far haven't really needed that little grabbing tool, but you can use a nail or a stick or anything to go in there and pull them through if your fingers aren't quite doing the job. As you get older like me, your fingers kind of lose a lot of function. Oh, I see a rib that broke. I didn't even know. But I don't need to replace that rib. Let's see. I think what I'll do is push this a little more and just stick it underneath there just to show you how you finish one of these. So I already kind of tore this anyway, so just going to cut it off just enough to call it quits for this piece. And hopefully my fingers will work. Okay. So there you can see where I stopped is a place that's pretty well filled in and doesn't need a lot of new material. So the other side, I can go different directions. So instead of going right back that same direction, the way this circle kind of works is you want to just pull it over and go in the continual length direction. So I see there's still a lot of material in the middle there, so I'm just gonna cover this area that thinned out a little, and then I'll go to another spot, maybe back to there. So take this, kind of get a feeling how much you need for this spot, put it through and tuck it under. That's all you do. If I were to say any more, I'd be making it much more complicated than it really is. It's a joyful activity that you just kind of flow with and enjoy the surprises that come along. I'm just gonna pull this up a little. I don't want to pause it again and go in the house and get my other tool. I'm just gonna improvise with the scissors. Kind of use the scissors like a extra finger. Well, that came loose. I'll have to replace that one too. Okay, Yeah, you just discover what the hat needs as you move through this. And so that gives you an idea of what we do. And now I'm going to put it underneath that thick part there. And just kind of wiggle it in. And sometimes I have to go on the other side to see what's blocking it. And I think I see it right there. And I just stick that there and, oops, made a turn. Okay. Yeah, you don't want to go into thick traffic here. I'll pull that through and then finish it off from the other side. Now I suppose a lot of you want something a little more orderly to work with, and that's okay. You want a more of a paint by numbers kind of operation, and this might not appeal to you. Okay, well, just in case you like to flow, you like free flowing, this is how you do. This is one way to do it. There's a lot of others. So you can kind of see what I ended up doing there. I'm underneath that one. And that's going to be covered because of open space there. And when I do the dome, I go lots of different directions, and I plan it so that it'll cover as many open spots as I've got to work with. And this number of leaves, I'm sure, is going to be more than I need, you know. But if I do run out, I just walk down to the pond and get a few more. Well, that's enough. You know, what else do you need to know? You can watch me. You can rewind. If anybody's ever rewound one of my videos and watched it again, gosh, I kind of feel sorry for them, lacking for entertainment. But anyway, some people think I'm funny, even when I'm not trying to be. I'm just being me. But anyway, that's the process, and as you can see, I'm gonna send another one of these through. And when you go through the second time, you usually go over and under different ones. Maybe I should show what I mean there. Like, I'm not gonna repeat the exact same pattern. I might even start at a different point and go a slightly different direction. So that way you get as many different sections covered as you can, you know, through the ribs in different ways. So, okay, you can see I went under there and over here. I went under in both places there, except here I went over that one. So that's pretty much how the whole thing goes. Now I'll come across here and weave on this side through an open spot. And it's kind of side by side with the other one, but covering different areas. So sometimes I change my mind and redo it, depending on how it looks. It's a very artistic process. Oh, my hand just froze up there. Okay, I guess I'm a little arthritic. That comes with the territory. I'm almost 3/4 of a century old in a few months. Yeah, that's getting into ancient territory there. So, yeah, it's kind of fun. You never know what part of your body's going to work and which ones aren't on a given day, moment to moment. But that's okay. It's been working pretty good for a long time. So, I don't know if you saw what I just did, but I kept pulling this through and went under. Now I'm coming to a kind of a traffic jam spot, and I can see going over, under one more time, and this one will be done. So, whoa, there you go, okay. It's really a lot of fun. It's hard to have this much fun. I couldn't back in the days when I was working all the time for the academic world. Very demanding institutions. Whoa, that one just came off. Okay, so when they do that to you and they just pop off because you didn't know how dry it was and if it was cracked, you just change your plan, you know, and go over and under different pieces. And that's what I'll do here. And one more little thing, when these ends split on you, they become difficult to manage, and then you just snip it. Usually I go kind of diagonally, so I have a point that you can start the push through with, and instead of the flat end, it works a little better. And that'll be enough. And this video is probably getting too long again. Okay, so just a couple other things is these green reeds, when they dry, they shrink a little, and so I put them in, you know, to fill in the gaps, but I don't have to put them in so tightly that there's no air passageways. When that big wind comes up, you want some of that wind to blow through your hat and not try to blow your hat off or make you choke on your chin strap or anything like that. So just do it according to your own taste. I hope you have fun with this. If you want to make a hat, look at my video called I Made a Hat. It shows you every step of the way pretty thoroughly, and then repair it once a year or as needed. This one wasn't as worn out this year as it usually gets, so as needed. And hope you enjoy working with nature instead of having to go to the store and get materials that were gathered or manufactured in a not so gentle way. Okay. So here is the finished hat. finished, meaning good enough for now, or good enough till next year. You don't have to cover up every little air hole like that, you know. It's nice to have a breeze going through the hat. And, you know, if you put too much new material on, new cattail leaves, your hat might get a little heavy for you. So, just enough to kind of hold it together and keep it in good shape, keep it from falling apart, you know. And I just keep going until I come to a point where I feel that's good enough. I don't see anything else that needs to be repaired or replaced. So it's nice to see a little bit of the inner structure showing through too, you know, the branches and little hoops that hold it together. I guess they're all branches, big ones and little ones. Let's look inside too, so you can see clearly what's new and what's old, the new green additions. And those will turn that beige color in less than a month, probably, being out in the sun a lot. We're coming to the end of July. I'll be out all the time. If it was cloudy or I wasn't outside much, it would stay green longer. So there you are, the hat for this year. And the cob oven.